grab a shovel because it is excavation time. Your aspectarian will tell you that today, on May 25th, Mercury is going to trine Pluto. But what it won't tell you is that Mercury is going to be holding this trine with Pluto for a solid 2 weeks. So today we're going to talk about Mercury's square to Pluto. It is happening, like the two exact dates that it occurs on are May 25th and June 10th. But we'll be feeling this for a solid 2 weeks, if not longer, as Mercury applies toward Pluto slowly because it's retrograde right now. So you might remember this. This might sound kind of familiar. Think back to the end of January and the beginning of February when Mercury last stationed direct in Capricorn, holding a conjunction with Pluto, you guessed it, for a solid 2+ weeks. So we're having sort of an echo, a sort of reverberation effect from that period where a stationary Mercury is holding a prolonged aspect with Pluto for a very long time. So we might experience sort of like a turning point in that story. If you made a big, important decision, if you had a really big meaningful heart-to-heart with someone. I remember back when I was creating videos for that, I was saying, it's time to have the talk. And it's time to bring things up to the surface. It's time to face reality and do that resourceful Pluto thing where you make a new plan. So we might see a turning point in that story here with the trine. What is working out in your favor since that time? How have things sort of developed for you positively? Can you see how you've grown? Can you see how those decisions that you made are sort of starting to play out, hopefully in a positive way? But what complicates this is that there's also, Mercury is activating an eclipse degree. So we get this whole other eclipse layer, which we'll talk about more as Mercury stations direct in the Mercury direct video. But, it's bringing up a lot. This Mercury prolonged trine to Pluto, activating the eclipse degree, it's bringing up a lot. And that force of rebirth, that force of alchemy is really, really present at this time. It's like we have to excavate yet another layer, and hopefully it's helpful because it's a trine with Pluto. But another thing that this can be really useful for is focus and investigation. Mercury's trine to Pluto helps us to really focus on something. And probably because it's Mercury retrograde, we're in process with redesigning or reconceptualizing something. Or we're pulling back, we're taking a pause so that we can dig a little bit deeper and really commit to what's in front of us. There's something in front of us that is craving our attention and our problem-solving abilities. And it requires honesty. It requires intimacy. It requires, having the courage to dig a little bit deeper and find out where the truth is, whether that's something that we're trying to discover or that's a truth within ourselves. So yeah, big changes are happening here with this prolonged trine. And indeed, Mercury is kind of hovering over these 2 eclipse degrees as this is happening. So it can be very confronting. There can be like triggers and activations. So if November was a big time for you, if that eclipse from May 15th was a really big thing for you, this Mercury's kind of stalling on these degrees are going to sort of energize and further develop these storylines that are happening in our lives. Now, so those are the important things to keep in mind. If there's something that is just sort of like bubbling up in your chest and you want to bring it out and you want to talk about it, now is definitely the time. So that's a little bit about our Mercury trine Pluto for 2 straight weeks. Astrology shot of the day. Like I said, we'll talk about it more in the Mercury stationing direct video, but that's a little bit for now. And that was your astrology shot of the day. Bye. Thanks so much for tuning in with me today. For more astrology in your world, you can connect with me on all platforms at Astro Catherine. You can also visit my website, get on my mailing list, because I'm about to launch an all levels monthly chart synthesis group. So get on the mailing list to stay up to date on that, as well as my foundations course, which is relaunching this fall.